what we need to do is let kids know that the CDC says that more than 90% of the people who are trafficking kids in this country are known by the kid.
Wow.
They're known. So when we're talking to kids about stranger danger, we've all heard that. We've heard it for many years. The FBI says that's less than 1%.
Wow.
Right? So kids know the people who wind up trafficking them.
Hey everyone, Sharelle Mendenhall here. Thank you for joining us on Access Las Vegas. Today, I'm joined by someone who has made it her life mission to end child trafficking. You guys, I am so excited to introduce to you Rhonda Sciortino.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So we're talking about a really tough subject. But something I really love is that you always want to break this down to something practical. Like, how can we truly prevent it and not just have to go in after the damage is done? So if you can, introduce yourself, what you're doing, and we'll go from there.
My name is Rhonda Sciortino. I'm with Prevent Child Trafficking Nevada, and we're a collective impact initiative that's created specifically to focus on the prevention of the trafficking of our children. Rescue is heroic, and restoration is critical, but such damage is done after the brutality of that heinous crime that if people really knew what it was about, they would go upstream a little bit and work on prevention.
Amen.
And that's what we exist to do.
Something you are set out to do is empower the kids, empower the parents, and give them tools to do this. So if you're speaking directly to the parents today, what is it that you would tell them, and how, instead of just living in fear, because we don't want that, what would you tell them to be able to help them prevent this trafficking?
I love that, Sharelle. Thank you so much. So, I've never met anybody who said, I don't care about that. I don't care about protecting kids from trafficking. I don't care about stopping trafficking. Everybody cares about it.
Yeah.
Everybody would do something if they knew what to do.
Right.
And, I was a national child advocate for decades. And I spent my career analyzing the way kids get injured or killed in out-of-home placement. And so after you look at the aftermath of really hard things for long enough, you want to figure out how to prevent it. And so I started looking into this. I started listening to, for example, the Ending Human Trafficking podcast by my friend, Dr. Sandy Morgan at Vanguard University. I started reading about it. I started listening to experts and trying to figure out if you look at the story of a child who's been trafficked and you rewind their story, if you think of the story as a movie and you rewind it and you figure out at what point could someone have intervened that would have changed the trajectory of that child's life.
Wow.
Right? So, and then I realized this is not rocket science. This is not us, I'm not giving people the mandate to go out and come up with the cure for cancer.
Yeah.
It's about relationship.
Yeah.
Healthy relationships are the number one prevention strategy.
Okay.
So you asked about talking to parents. I want to talk to parents and grandparents and aunties and uncles and the neighbor next door and the babysitter and the teachers and the coaches that what we need to do is let kids know that the CDC says that more than 90% of the people who are trafficking kids in this country are known by the kid.
Wow.
They're known. So when we're talking to kids about stranger danger, we've all heard that. We've heard it for many years. The FBI says that's less than 1%.
Wow.
right? So kids know the people who wind up trafficking them.
Okay.
And so when we say that to parents, number one, all of a sudden, wow, most parents are going to say, oh, come on, is that real? It is real.
Okay.
And we have to be watching, not for the people who, we think look like traffickers. Sharelle, a trafficker can look like you, beautiful Sharelle.
Yeah.
A trafficker can look like me, an old grandma lady. A trafficker can look like a 17-year-old kid.
Wow.
So what we need to be looking for and teaching our kids about are tricky people.
Okay.
That's the language I use.
Okay.
We don't want kids to walk around being scared to death of every single person in the world.
No, we can't do that. Yeah.
But we want to teach kids about healthy boundaries.
Okay.
About the person who, puts their arm, the coach, let's say, who puts their arm around the kid and is maybe just a little bit too familiar. Mm-hmm. But what happens is when we as parents see people do those kinds of things and we let it go and we don't say anything about it, now the kid thinks it's okay.
Okay.
It's normalized.
Right.
So then when the coach or teacher or whoever the trusted person is, I don't mean to pick on coaches. I love sports, kids in sports,
Yeah.
But whoever it is, Uncle so-and-so or the neighbor next door who everybody loves, whatever it is. So then, but if it's okay to do this, then the person next time puts their hand on the kid's leg. Mm-hmm. And the kid thinks, okay, well, my mom didn't say anything about the other thing. So, they sit there and so pretty soon the kid just assumes, well, this is how this person is with me.
So what you're saying, as far as something super practical, is to have this conversation starting at a young age about healthy physical boundaries.
Yes.
And I mean, that sounds either simple or crazy that we have to have that conversation, but hey, anyone, even if it is an uncle, because you're right, the studies that I've been reading, the stories I've been having come out, the conversations have been for everyone from teachers to grandparents to, and it's abhorrent. But as a parent, being able to say, I don't care who it is in your life, this is a healthy boundary. So that's where you're saying you can actually go back to that place and say, let's have a conversation about healthy physical boundaries. Is there an age you should be introducing that at?
Oh, from the earliest.
Okay.
I think from the earliest that we say to kids, and maybe it's opposite of some families and cultures or whatever, but we have to say to kids, it's okay if you don't want to kiss everybody
right
when we walk in.
Yeah.
And you can teach them from the earliest time what's appropriate,
okay.
What's appropriate touch. I think another really practical thing, Sharelle, is when a kid comes home with a gift from somebody, mm-hmm. that's maybe an inappropriate gift. Maybe it's kind of expensive. And maybe it's something that mom couldn't afford to give to their kid. Let's say it's a new iPhone or whatever. When parents see their kid come in with a gift from somebody that's expensive or inappropriate, or a kid was singled out, let's say it's, I'm going back to the coach or teacher or whatever, but every kid in the school did not get, or every kid in that class or on that team did not get the new iPhone. One kid got the new iPhone from this person. When moms and dads and whoever else see those things, that is a flashing neon light.
Okay. Number one, we're going in and we're going to set healthy physical boundaries, no matter what that is, culturally not. Next up, we're going to identify gifts that are coming in that are singled out, that could be expensive, that don't make sense. And again, not to live in fear, but to be wise. All right, so we have 2 tools. What's the next tool that parents can be equipped with to be able to protect their children?
Listen to your kids.
What do you mean?
So many parents now both mom and dad are working, or if it's a single parent, maybe they're working 2 jobs and they're just trying to keep a roof over everybody's head. and there's just not a lot of time. So what happens is there aren't those moments where kids are just coming home from school and somebody said something and they have feelings hurt, or somebody invited them to, go to something on Friday night and they know their mom, is not going to let them go, or whatever the situation. The kinds of things that kids deal with throughout their day. Listen, listen, without judgment. I think what a lot of us do, and I was guilty of it when I was raising my daughter, I was working a million hours. I was doing really emotionally charged work.
You were building all kind of crazy companies.
Well, I was. And it was, it was about child abuse. It was about really heavy stuff. And I would come home and if I'm honest, I just really didn't have the emotional bandwidth to hear about, this girl made fun of my daughter and the other ones laughed and whatever. And in my way of thinking, I can make all kinds of excuses for that and say, this is the thing that kids go through and, they work it out and whatever. But the reality is, if we really will listen, kids will let us know who's in their lives, who they're friends with, what their friends are doing, what's going on. And then we're going to have some clue about who's influencing our kids before the 12-year-old waits till you're asleep on Friday night and slips out the window to go to a hotel party.
Yeah.
Because that's how it starts, Sharelle. It's, the cool kids befriend this one, and this one's in the grade below. So they're so excited that the cool kids are now inviting them, right?
It's true.
And this is how it goes. And so all that has to happen is they go one time.
Yeah.
And somebody puts 3 drops of an odorless, tasteless drug into their water. It can be a bottle of water. It doesn't have to be your kid going and, drinking alcohol or using drugs or whatever. They don't even know because you can't tell.
Right.
And the next thing you know, they're awake, but they're fully compliant.
Right.
And there's video. And so once that starts happening, just one time, the kid is trapped.
Yeah.
And if we haven't been having those conversations and just listening, and that's the hardest thing. When you've come home from a hard day work, or, you have your own things that you're dealing with, to listen without shutting it down.
Right.
Is a masterful skill. Because as a mom, you want to say, oh, that's it. You're not going to her house anymore. I've had enough of that. This is never good, right? Well, when you do that, in some cases, you're just pushing the kid right into that situation.
I think what you just said is so beautiful, and it's affirming them for coming to you. I think that's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. No matter what it is, no matter how hard it is, no matter how hard our days are.
Yes.
It's just, man, I am so thankful to continue to keep that door open. Because maybe this time it wasn't as big of a deal. It could have been something about something someone said on the playground or in a classroom. But it could lead to a continued openness so that when bigger or weirder things happen, then you're like, wow, okay, let's actually see how we can handle this and make sure that we don't have a bigger issue here. And so I love that. That's so practical, and listening and being intentional, even as working parents, moms, dads. We're constantly working. We're constantly going. But even that simple affirmation, thank you for sharing, and then constantly keeping that door open to be able to listen. Because if we just there's so many psychological studies about that and pushing them away, and then they don't even want to tell us when something bad happens. If it's something bad, I'd love for you to tell me. Thank you. Even if you made a bad choice, thank you for telling me.
Yes.
Let's walk through this and see how we can do better and not choose this again.
Yes, absolutely. We can't punish kids. This is true for every relationship in our lives, right?
Right.
I mean, if somebody comes to you and they have an opinion, they have an act, they had something that they did or whatever, and you're just thinking, oh, you just made the biggest mistake of your life. Well, I mean, that doesn't lend itself
Yeah.
to, right, deepening the relationship.
No,
right?
it doesn't. It doesn't. On today's health tip with Access Las Vegas, I'm going to bring to you another biblical biohack, which is found in Ezekiel 4:9. In Ezekiel 4:9, there's an incredible bread recipe that has barley, it has legumes, it has several different ingredients that are key for our health, for our bodies. And I've seen my feed just flooded with so many different bread recipes. So I want to challenge you guys to make this bread that is absolutely satiating. It is biblical. And I want you to tag Access Las Vegas once you make it. And you know, Rhonda, something is like, I love that I have got to see firsthand, because I guess the term I like to use is wasting time. And the other is virtue signaling. There's a lot of people in this space that, because I've been in this for quite a while in my own sphere, starting in Los Angeles and bridging over here to Las Vegas, people who like to say they're in the trafficking space and do nothing. It's a lot of talk, it's a lot of meetings, but something I've got to see firsthand is things that you do. You have pop-ups, and the first one I went to, you guys have this big, beautiful van. You have all these brand new clothes that you're giving to these kids, and they have tags on them. And what do these tags say?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. It's the 5 most common tricks of traffickers. So remember that we want kids to not be afraid, but to be aware that there are tricky people in the world. Not scary people in the world, but just tricky people in the world. And to pay attention to the way their tummy feels when they're around that person, or when that person touches them or talks to them or whatever. So on the hang tags of every single article of clothing, we have these 5 tricks of traffickers. And they're the most common. They're not the only ones, but it's giving gifts. We talked about that. It's giving compliments. I mean, imagine a little girl, 11, 12, 13 years old, and at sort of that awkward stage, maybe middle school, and with pimples or whatever, and you feeling, not very confident, maybe not being included, and having somebody come up to that little girl and say, "You're so beautiful. You know, you could be a model. I could help you because my mom is an agent. I mean, we could get you set up." And the vulnerability there of that girl in that place in her life, when you think about that, then it's not hard to understand that the average age of child trafficked, this is a national average, but it's true right here in Nevada as well, is 12 years old. 12, that's the average.
The average. I've read crazy stories below that, but that's average, and that's abhorrent.
Think about the vulnerabilities, right? When you're around that age. So giving compliments. And then they try to gain your trust. The third one is gaining trust. And that's all about saying things like, "Oh, your mom is such a pain. She wouldn't let you come over. I can't believe it. You know, I get you. You could tell me anything because I get you. Your mom doesn't get you." And then conversely, "Oh, Sharelle, you're the only one who really gets me." Right? And so then that pulls the kid in like, "Oh, that person needs me." We all need to be needed. Right? We all want to belong. So, all of these things are so insidious. The fourth one, and they're in order. So once the person has gained your trust, now they can isolate you and say, let's say your friends want you to get together after school on Thursday, and the trafficker says, "Oh, I need you Thursday afternoon. That's when I really need. I was so looking forward to talking to you. I really need a friend. I need you to be with me." And the next thing you know, they're isolating you. You haven't hung out with your friends. You're not going here. You're not going there. You're spending all of your time with that person because they make you feel guilty if you don't.
Okay.
And then the fifth is controlling. Because when they've given you gifts, that your parents couldn't afford or wouldn't let you have, and they've told you how amazing you are, and they've gained your trust to where you've said, oh, my sister is a pain, and my brother is, off doing this, and I can't stand my mom, and whatever. You've shared every single secret. The trafficker knows all your friends. They know where you live. They know about your little sister. They know about your sister's soccer team. They know everything. So in that controlling, it's very easy for them to say, oh, I've given you all this. You owe me.
Yeah.
And I've done all this for you. I've been here for you. I can't believe you can't do this for me.
Yeah.
And then if you still back away, okay, I'll go get your little sister.
Yeah. Control, manipulation.
Right?
Yeah.
Or I'll release these pictures. I'll send this video
Right.
To everybody in your phone.
Whew. I mean, it's heavy. It's hard, but it's so needed. And you guys have these pop-ups throughout the city. You have quite a few partnerships, because I've been to a couple of different ones I've gotten to see, and different age demographics. I got to see the different response, the different kids, the excitement of just these new clothes. Like, I get to take this home. Can I have any, when they didn't realize that they could have 2 sets and they were just grabbing one, and they're like, oh, you get one more. Like, they lit up again. Like, it was this light up again, and we got to get popcorn because someone donated popcorn, and just the little different things where you guys are stepping into this space and partnering with different charities across the city to love on these kids in a Christ-centered fashion. Even if you're not saying the name specifically in your, charity, that is what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're doing it from a place of, man, Jesus loves you.
Yeah.
And we want to protect you because you have this destiny on your life, which is going to roll into a couple of things that we have in. By the time that this airs, I do believe that we're going to have had one of the most successful charity events, the Cowboy Up for Kids, and we will have had fun, we will have danced the night away, and we will have raised a ton of funds to do a couple of things, which you're pioneering a collective to be able to strategize and move us forward in this movement, and also launching a program within the schools.
Yes.
Stand.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that, and I want people to be able to get involved with what you're doing, because they can volunteer at the pop-ups, they can donate, they can sponsor, and I know that charity event isn't going to be the last one, so you'll have more coming up, but kind of let us know before we have to run away, where they can get involved and how they can volunteer.
Anybody who's interested can go to preventchildtraffickingnevada.org, and there are opportunities there for volunteering, for donating, but I always say, I want your heart. I want people to care about kids, to just learn the 5 most common tricks of traffickers, learn the 4 most common signs of a child being trafficked. And those are being controlled, being shy or withdrawn, a kid who won't make eye contact, signs of abuse, bruises, broken bones, whatever. And then being out of it.
Yeah.
A kid who just looks like they're out of it, because traffickers use drugs to control kids. They don't put handcuffs on them. And so to know the one safe and responsible thing to do, the action to take, is to either call the national hotline, which is 888-3737-888, or to text. And this is the one I love because, we all have our phone.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just, if you see something that doesn't look just right, you just have kind of that spidey sense that something's wrong, take a picture and text it to 233-733.
I love that you bring that up, because I just spoke at an event up in Utah about child abuse, and someone immediately after said they saw something that was wrong, and they're like, what do I do? It just didn't look right. She had like a pillow, she was climbing into a car, and they're like, what do I do?
Right.
And this is so important to simply get this message out there that not only are parents watching, but the world is being educated, and people are not going to be getting away with abusing children, trafficking children, and there are people watching. There's an army rising up to protect these children.
Yes.
And so I need you to say that text message number again, because I love this, and there's something cool about the thermal piece of that. So tell me just briefly what that means, and tell us the number first and then that piece.
Okay, it's 233-733. Okay, 233-733. And so when we text to that number, it's the national number. And so the FBI has a heat map. And they make a note of every single call or text that comes in, because traffickers tend to use the same places. If it works once, it'll work again. And so they tend to do their business. I hate to call it that, but it is the fastest growing crime. Traffickers of guns and traffickers of drugs now sell children. Because when you sell a drug one time, it's gone. You sell a gun one time, it's gone. And you can sell a child over and over and over again. I know, it's awful. And so there's this heat map. And then the FBI sends that information. So I'm talking about like seconds. They send it to local law enforcement. Local law enforcement goes out and they investigate and they do their thing. If we as citizens try to intervene, typically what happens is you can't get a conviction. And so I just want to say to all the wonderful, well-meaning people who would see something and then dive in. That was my first response. I thought, I'm not calling a number. I'm going to save that kid. Well, when we try to do that, we can make it much worse for the kid. We can make it so law enforcement can't get a conviction. We can make it so that trafficker takes off, they go to another city, and it just continues. And so it's so much better to let law enforcement do their thing.
For them to follow your journey, to be able to sponsor everything that's going on, because there is a program going in schools, which is Students Taking Action for a New Destiny.
Love it.
Which is so powerful. There's the collective. If you're another charity that's in this space and you want to join Rhonda and her mission, I challenge you guys, I implore you to connect, because I don't know what has happened, but throughout history, we've all been kind of on our own space and we're not working together. So they are putting something together to ensure that not only are we rescuing kids, we're getting them in homes, we're preventing it. Every single aspect of this is being shut down, and they are empowering an army of citizens to rise up against this atrocity, you guys. So thank you so much for joining us on Access Las Vegas. My name is Sharelle Mendenhall, and this is Rhonda Sciortino. Thank you for joining us. Guys, I am coming to you so thankful for Sentry H2O, because not only are they changing water, changing lives, but they're also partnering with us to give back to the Roarfest. So when you use code TRF, you're getting 10% off of everything that you purchase through Sentry H2O, but also they're going to be giving back 10% to the Roarfest, and we're going after preventing child trafficking this year. So don't forget, go to sentryh2o.com and use code TRF.
Access Las Vegas is hosted by Sharelle Mendenhall. Follow her online at Sharelle Mendenhall. Thank you to Rhonda Sciortino for being our guest on this week's episode. For more information, check out PreventChildTraffingNevada.org or follow them on social media at Stand Up for Kids Now and at Prevent Child Trafficking.